back in the green, back out into the Wizard of Oz, getting the Technicolor. Oh, straight up. You got him.
One more good hit for Random is going to be the tournament here.
Oh,
Bicycle confirmed. Catching out completely. Builds the level 2 and Random wins World Warrior Germany.
When we play grapplers, we usually think of the big strong fella, or some kind of wrestling archetype-like character. We don't really talk about the grapplers that are women most of the time due to the fact that they've not really been experimented with. They've either been lacking, or they've only recently started to pop up. This video will be different. It'll do dives into different women grapplers to talk about what makes them unique or iconic. Again, this doesn't mean that they're not going to get their own video in the future. It just means I'm doing a thing where we're dedicating the video to essentially this category of grapplers that haven't been talked about. But because of this, it means nothing deep divey like the previous video, but we do talk about a few fun facts, their overall gameplay, and who they are as a character. But yeah, these grapplers put the beauty into being a grappler. So let's get started by going immediately to one of the series that experimented with them, SNK. But yeah, what's up fellas, name's Panda of course, hope you guys enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe. Main goal set 3k because then I'll do the Tiger video. If you guys don't know, I dislike Tigers, so you'd be making me do it. I'd be one of those ones, so let's shoot for it. We're getting there for sure. SNK tend to experiment with their grapplers, making them varied and different and all that, and one of them is obviously creating like female grapplers, and not a very common thing during that time. The time that you had were like Rainbow, Mika, or Makoto. With SNK, they were always experimenting, trying different characters. But in this portion, I want to focus on 3 different characters, talking about what makes them iconic or unique, and I will be going to the most modern iteration of them because that has the most research available for them. But in doing so, let's get started with Blue Mary. Blue Mary is one of the earliest examples of a female grappler. She stood out as the love interest for Terry Bogard, and she rocks a grappling style using Sambo Commando. This is a martial arts style that was invented in the 1920s to make the Soviet Union proficient at hand-to-hand. It mixes grabs and kickboxing practices for self-defense. She uses it for brawler-like defense, again, kinda accurate to the martial art. But yeah, it's all about having a strong defense and turn it into strong offense. She also has an amazing approach tools that deal with fireballs and can't base neutral. She's designed to do grab follow-ups after most of her attacks. This made her more of a hit grab character, but she does have a grab off the parry stance, which made it very fun and interesting. After she does a command input follow-up, she breaks their spine with a German suplex. It was a very interesting design. She was more of a defensive-based grappler that was able to turn into immediate offense. Didn't want to do anything else, just kind of wanted to run it to the corner. And then if she was stuck in the corner, she had access to a very powerful real counter that let her have iframes, dodge for 20 frames, and then command grab you back with a suplex. Very cool design overall, in terms of just being like the opposite of what a usual grappler is, which is running grab offense 9 times out of 10 and walling the opponent. She didn't have to wall, she just kind of got in, did little damage, but had a counter throw. I think that makes her stand out compared to, of course, a lot of the grapplers today, and grapplers back then. I like that as a first real female grappler take from SNK, and I think that really makes it interesting and fun. Fun fact, apparently to a Neo Geo Freak article where they were interviewed about the character, they designed her off of Android 18 from Dragon Ball. Which, it makes sense if you look back at our very old iteration, it's very comparable in that regard. Oh yeah, neat thing we're going to do, fun fact for the end of every grappler section, and then we're going to be moving on to the next one, which I feel like mostly everybody knows, and that's Shermie. Shermie is probably the most iconic female grappler that most people would know. She's a part of the band CYS, which is our band our team New Faces made to kind of fit in and play like this evil role, like this is our happy-go-lucky side, you know? And she fights using a style, pardon my butchering of the Japanese language, Uranus, hope I said that right, which is a Japanese term for professional wrestling in and outside of Japan. You know, like the classic WWE stuff like that. Her moves are filled with slams using her agility to get into places, so she likes to play the mid-range to close-range game and then quickly take that space in a matter of seconds. She had some counter throws of course, kind of like DPs, but she also had this throw. I know 100% of you just said, yes please. And then she had the follow-up. I know this is a bit much, but I know like 40% you said bit much. The other 40 was like, yes, please. And the last 20% said, again. So what made her unique was the fact that she could take space with one of her command grabs insanely quickly, and the fact that she also had a DP. It meant that you had to be constantly on eggshells against Shermie. There was never really a situation where you had full control, and because of that, she was a kind of a grappler where you're like, do I approach? Do I back up? What do we do here? Shermie also dealt a ton of damage if you got caught. Getting caught by her kind of led to nasty damage, and on a strike throw character that can lead to your demise. The strike damage is high and the throw damage was also very high. Fun fact as well, she also has 2 pet hamsters because she's a hamster breeder, and these 2 hamsters are Chur and Ururi. Hope I said that right. And the next grappler I want to cover is actually a bit more of a unique take on it, and kind of reminded me of a certain big boy, I'll say that much. And that'll be Hinako. I want to cover this as an oddball pick, right, for sure. I like the oddball picks. And we've had the jolly sumo, we've had the serious sumo, we've had the gunner sumo, but we've never had a female sumo in fighting games. That's because they kind of don't exist within the sumo world, right? So it's kind of a very unique take to bring in such a character like this. Hinako is a short and cheery girl that loves sumo and collects sumo rankings. She stands at a short 5 foot 1 inches, which doesn't make her look threatening until you see her game plan. She lacks range in general, but when she's in, it's her game. She has a Rika series for corner game mech. She also has a 3 different command grabs to keep the opponent on their toes, and she has a side swap command grab that gives a combo if you EX it, and she has an invul corner command grab that acts like Z Broly's Chesto from Dragon Ball FighterZ. And she also has a command grab that's slow, which does sound bad in theory because it means it's reactable. But the scary thing is, it's actually feintable. So if you use it, you can use it to take space and then threaten a mix. And if the person jumped going like, oh, it's a command grab, that's an anti-air. This is a tricky command grappler for sure. She's very interested in that regard, using sumo in such an aggressive grappler-like style. You don't see that. Most times out of 10, the sumo is more of like a poke-based character or pressure-based character. But she certainly had pressure as well. And if she wanted to approach in neutral, she took a page from one of my man's books, Potemkin. Instead of slide heading, we Doskoi and stomp on the ground, leading to a hard knockdown if they did the heavier version. A very cool character that is designed to be a sumo, of course, and the pure pressure mixed in with command grabs just made it so bro. But fun fact when it comes to this character, apparently her nationality might be Russian, but she dedicates herself to being Japanese, truly dedicated to the sumo way, and she likes horse racing. Respectable. SNK grapplers, 3 of the women grapplers, had very interesting designs. One more of a defensive one, and of course Shermie being more of a I will take your space in a matter of moments one, and Hinako being a sumo one based upon feinting and going for some raw Doskois. But now we need to move on to the next company I want to cover, and that'll be Capcom. And their history of grapplers when it comes to being female are kind of rare, I'll be honest, but there is one that I'll cover back in the day, and then we'll be covering more modern ones. But that one back in the day, we gotta look towards Third Strike. If you guys are enjoying the video, be sure to like and subscribe and all that. I'll stop yapping. But going into Makoto, she was a very interesting grappler. She trained in the style of, hope I say this right, keep in mind I'm no Japanese, Rindokan Ryu Karate, which is a classic style of karate that is a mixture of powerful strike and clinches for targeting weak points. But yeah, she was a black belt at like such a young age as well, man. She was a very powerful opponent. I think in Street Fighter 4 she was 18 with a black belt, and that's mad. That is mad. But yeah, she's designed to be the combo grappler of the game, heavily experimenting with the stun meter of the game, which was a fun mechanic if you got to learn how that worked. Her combo damage when the opponent is stunned is insane, leading to game-ending scenarios. She had some decent neutral due to her long-reaching attacks, but the whiff recovery could get her blown up for it. So you had to be careful with this character. She was kind of like committal neutral, the command grappler. She also had an install state that makes her rage out by literally going red, and her damage goes up and her stun goes up. But she has one problem during this install state, and that is she cannot block. When this pops, it's cool and can be fun to see. However, you're kind of thrown if you pick this super. You want to pick super 2 most of the time. She has an awesome design as a grappler, being more of a combo based one where if she goes for a command grab clinch, she gets a full combo off of it. And of course you want to kill you using the stun meter. And then she could also go for resets as well. Kind of a bro grappler. If she grabbed you, you were like, oh god, you need to guess her game. Yeah, fun fact, she dislikes being mistaken for a boy, making her go into the rage state like her install. There wasn't really a ton of writing in terms of this character, in terms of fun facts, besides the fact that her father passed away and she's trying to rebuild her dojo. Not really a ton there. I wish Capcom showed this character a bit more love. I'll say that much. But let's move into the most recent installment, and probably my two favorite ones at the Capcom Grapplers for sure, next to Zangief. But let's start up with the beauty, Manon. Manon is a practitioner of judo with a weird mix of ballet. This involves grappling by initiating a clinch and then going for a takedown like a judo throw or going for the legs. Except Manon is classy and uses ballet to flex her mobility on the opponent. She's a model, so she's all about being glamorous while fighting as well. And she does stand at 5'9", which is so misleading, because in game she is tiptoeing, making her height on par with some of the biggest members of the roster. But in terms of gameplay, her plan was to land as many grabs as possible to stack medals. When she gets 5, her damage goes up to massive chunks, so as a Kuma, you can play neutral well, but if she got in, the Doom music started playing. Cool thing about Manon, her gameplay was also like Tizok in terms of getting in. If you saw my Tizok video, you know he used feints to get in against the opponent. He'd jump over lows, he would duck over highs. And she had that with two of her approach tools, one being a low that lets her go under attacks and one being an overhead that lets her jump over attacks. However, this was rare to see due to how risky it is to use these moves compared to Tizok, who's doing a feint, kind of meaning that he was in no risk, right? He was able to block afterwards. But what made her really stand out as a grappler was kind of going for whip punish game with her long normals to get a ton of damage and build up her stacks. It's a shame that the avoidance style doesn't really work out for the character, and it's kind of like she had the opposite problem of Tizok. Tizok couldn't throw when he was in, but he had so many amazing ways to get in. Whereas Manon has the opposite problem, getting in is a bit of a task, and when she's in, she has an amazing throw game. Manon is a bit of a weak state right now, but overall still an awesome character, and I can't wait to see what Capcom does with her. Oh yeah, and fun fact, Manon is actually a pastry chef, so not only is she talented in judo, not only is she a ballet practitioner, not only is she a model, she also cooks pastry. Damn. Multifaceted in talents. But let's get on to the next one, who's my personal favorite, who I actually played to master. Just saying, I was nasty at Street Fighter 5 when it launched. I'll say that much. I'll leave it at that. Marisa. Marisa is the other end of the spectrum in terms of being a grappler compared to Manon. She uses her brutish force to punch through and get into her perfect strike throw game. She fights in a very old style, and keep in mind I'm no Greek, known as pancration. Hope I said that right, which dates to ancient Greek. The martial art style mixes wrestling with punches, kind of like a boxing into hardcore grappling. Marisa shows this fighting style through her actions, as her command grab perfectly resembles a piece of Greek art showing how the martial art was used. Her command grab gives amazing Oki, allowing for looping offense in a scenario, and her damage is still exceptional, and even has some great corner carry to get that pressure going and set up the command grab. What makes her unique is how she approaches a neutral. She has a lot of common with like big body grapplers of the day, such as the armor and the explosive damage. What makes her unique is her martial art style and focus on looping pressure with the threat that the command grab could come at any time, and that you might press badly and get punished for it. She was very good at whip punish. In neutral, she will use her Superman punch phalanx to approach over fireballs, and she will also use Gladius as a pressure tool as well as a neutral poke due to the reward on hit. When she's in, she can threaten the charge buttons to look pressure, create frame traps, or go straight for the command grab and ask, "Where are you going?" And she's designed well for raw offense and killing to end a fight quickly. Fun fact, she bows to protect, but she also does it to find a suitor in marriage. Yes, so far she finds that Zangief and Manon are perfect suitors, but is still in the search for love. Truly an odd way to find love. But yeah, I covered the two companies I wanted to go straight into. Obviously Capcom, SNK, maybe I'm looking forward to another Capcom SNK game, maybe the copium is high. But the section now is dedicated to other grapplers that stray away from the big AAA fighting games I know none of them will be 3D grapplers. I feel like they deserve their own video. Honestly, they're very interesting. But I want to talk about what makes them unique, and I want to talk about a certain fun broken one for sure. And again, I'll be covering 3 of them, but let's start with a truly fun wrestler watch and my main in the game, Ladiva. Diva is the core grappler of Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. The thing that makes her unique is that she is the first trans representation for grapplers. Someone that is comfortable with their body but sees themselves as a woman, she fights in the Jewel Resort Casino as the star attraction. The fighting style is good old wrestling with an exaggerated twist to it, like sending the opponent to the moon and coming back down with a powerful slam. In terms of gameplay, this is your usual grappler game plan. Get through for walling the opponent, run, strike, throw, and that was kind of mostly it. And her damage was very high on strike, very low on throw, so you're more based on getting in, using your throw to open the opponent up, maybe make them use bravery points, call them out for using bravery points, and then afterwards you were able to actually deal damage to your command grabs, but until then you did strike most of the time just for that raw damage. She's fairly weak in the game right now. I will stand behind that. There are some tools that don't make sense to me and they do need some buffs. Don't really play the game anymore, but goddamn, give this character some love, man. Yeah, you have to be on point to do well with this grappler. Genuine, pure wall gameplay. A pretty cool grappler that I wish got more love from the devs. Fun fact, this character is into hobbies like knitting, general housework like cooking and cleaning. And I have to be honest, I dig the cooking, but you know, each to their own in terms comes to hobbies, man, right? Cleaning their house, I hate that. But up next is a very interesting grappler that was banned. Yes, a banned grappler, and probably one of the first female grapplers, dating all the way back to 1994. Sailor Uranus from the Sailor Moon S fighting game. Now, if you don't know, this game was mad. It released back in the day, and it had some insane mechanics, for sure, but I want to talk about how funny this is. I'm not that educated in this topic, and I like to find out about this game and what made it mad. But Sailor Uranus, lol, is a perfect example of how not to design a grappler. She's also one of the first female grapplers as well, but she was in this game that was just as broken as oddly well balanced as well. Sailor Moon S was a game that released on the Super Famicom, really old machine if you're not that educated about it. But this game is insane, and I recommend you watch this video for even more info. They talk about what made everything broken. Truly a mad fighting game. Truly a mad fighting game. But I'm going to talk about obviously the broken part, which is the banned character, the grappler, Sailor Uranus. Mad name. Sailor Uranus was the only character with a forward dash. And as you can see, it's very quick. It puts Johnny from Guilty Gear to shame with this dash. Wait a minute. Wait. This dash also comes out in 15 frames. I'm using this to get Johnny banned. It does an infinite due to the dash being cancelable, meaning landing a normal led to death. Yeah, that's right. She could land a normal and then dash cancel and land a normal dash cancel, land a normal dash cancel, and she killed you. Her command grab was also extremely quick and did a third damage, meaning 3 interactions could lead to death, or 1. Lol. This is one of the few times where we're like, cool job, let's not do that again. However, it's oddly enticing. Fun fact, this character would often be banned from tournaments, so much so that they hacked her out of the game. And the other fun fact, I'll give you another one, when it comes to the wiki describing all the characters' moves in it, all of her moves are just this. This move is okay, but because the dash is broken, and my personal favourite, this move is really good, and because of dash it's bad. So yeah, Sailor Uranus, mad grappler. Probably one of the few times where we're like, don't do that again. Full screen dash. Full screen dash. Insanity to think about. But yeah. I wish the good old days were with us. Heading into the last grappler of the video, we'll be talking about Cerebella, who stands out from Skullgirls, a popular indie fighting game, and she uses a made-up fighting style called Vice Versa, which involves grappling with the giant arms that are on her hat. It's a very cool hat, but it also allows to run her strike throw game plan. She has a throw that does good damage but gives no Oki. But to make up for this, she also has a second command grab that allows her to do good damage and get a combo off of it. However, it has a dead zone, meaning that in the space where her arm begins, that doesn't grab, but where her hand is, it's actually a really good grab. Meaning it's a good reach grab, and you need to understand the spacings to use it in probably every matchup. But yeah, this gave her combo for a sizable chunk of health. And she also had an anti-air command grab for combos, which are good for reads and ending a combo. And it would catch people jumping out the corner, it'd give you good damage, and you'd slap them silly. This makes her quite adept at calling out escape options, as well as opening up defensive players. Damage is high for grapplers like this, of course, just due to the nature of don't get hit or don't get grabbed mentality. But one thing I find funny is how much Hagar and Cerebella actually have a pretty similar design in Attack Fighter, being the core grappler of their games. They share a lot of strengths and weaknesses, and even a powerful lockdown assist. The main thing that separates them though is no pipe. Rest in peace. Nah, man, that's not it. It's also how agile their combos are. You need to do a ton of restands and re-jump lips to actually get maximized damage, where Hagar is all about threatening hooligan throw as much as possible. But yeah, she's cool in a game that has variation for grapplers for sure. Fun fact though, she has some cool colors referencing characters in media like Harley Quinn, Diva, and my big boy. Plus our Potemkin. That is the end of the video. Just more of a fun one to release for now. Want to kind of share some love for those certain types of grapplers, the female grapplers, because like they don't get talked about enough, and I feel like they're very interesting with the way they're designed, because they kind of try to go from the opposite way of the big body core grappler. This doesn't mean that I won't dive into these characters as their own individual video. I just felt like these group of characters deserved a bit of love. But yeah, I like it because these grapplers stand out with the big wrestling chunky dudes. And of course, I do love those types of characters, but they're standing out pretty well. And you don't get these types of grapplers that come up often. You know, someone like Shermie, or someone like Manon, or someone like Marisa, or someone like Blue Mary. They don't come up that often. And I think it's time we paid them a bit of respect. And hopefully grapplers get even more agile type designs and more kind of looked into. How can we design them be defensive, offensive, all that? How do they play neutral besides tank and wall? It'd be interesting to see. I want you guys to tell me who was your favorite of this lot, and I want you to let me know which one I should cover. Again, we're gonna do the classic. Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Of course, be sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Try out 3K. Be nice to do that. I don't want to make the hack. I don't want to make the Tiger video, but that is what it is. But yeah, peace out, fellas. Hope you have a great one. Tell me your favorite one, and I'll see you next time. See ya.